Hello everyone and welcome. My name is Chidebe Arinze and I'll be your instructor in today's lesson. Today's session is all about unlocking the analytical power of Excel. Okay, we are going to dive into the world of formulas, functions, and cell referencing. These are the essential building blocks for anyone who wants to analyze that effectively in Excel. So by the end of this session, you will be able to create your own formulas, use Excel's built-in functions, and understand how cell referencing works, which is crucial for building flexible and powerful spreadsheet. Okay, so all right, let's move to the next slide. So we'll start with basic formulas and calculations. We'll start with basic formulas and calculations. So first, what are formulas? Okay, what are formulas when we say formulas? Okay, so let's start with these basics. So what exactly are formulas? Think of them as instruction you give to Excel. Understand, formulas are the instruction you give to Excel or any spreadsheet application that are using. They are instructions you give them to perform. So they tell Excel to perform calculations on your data. You have a data that is available. Okay, now you now instruct Excel to perform a certain calculation for your data, your available data. So the most important thing to remember is that every single formula in Excel must begin with an equal sign. Understand? It must begin an equal sign. You can see they always start with equal sign. So this equal sign is what signals to Excel that you are entering a formula. The moment you start with that equal sign, it gives Excel the sign that okay, this guy is trying to give me an instruction, like you are entering a formula. Okay, we are about to perform a calculation. The moment you start with that equal sign, so you send a signal to Excel that we want to perform a calculations. That we are like we are trying to begin to do perform maybe a calculations that will need one formula or the other. Maybe you want to multiply or do addition or subtraction and all that. So this equal sign gives Excel a signal that you are entering a formula. So not just typing a text, because if you move to Excel now, maybe you want to enter your data. If you start typing, maybe you want to type the word basic. You start typing with BASIC. Excel understand, okay, this is a text. Okay, if you type just one, Excel understand, okay, this is a number. Understand? If you type anything, if you type dates, maybe maybe from today's date 13th February 2025, Excel understand, okay, this is a date. But the moment you start with equal sign, okay, it signals to Excel that you are entering a formula, not just typing a text or numbers or date or whatever. So a simple example will be like what you are seeing here, equal to A1 plus B1. It tells Excel to add the values in cell A1 and B1. Okay, that's the formula. This is the formula here. Okay, it tells Excel to add the value that are currently in cell A1 and cell B1. Okay, so let's talk about basic formula structure. Okay, basic formula structure, like example, you can see equal to sum A1 to A10. So now let's break down the structure of typical formula. Here we have equal to sum. Okay, we have equal to, then sum, then we have open parentheses, then A1 to A10, then close parentheses. This A1 column A10, this means A1 to A10, then that's closing parentheses. Okay, so as we have already discussed, the equal sign, the equal to is the equal sign. Okay, we start the formula. Next we have sum. Okay, the sum, this is a function. Okay, functions are pre-built formulas that perform specific calculations. Okay, so sum, as you might guess, add up a range of numbers. It add up a range of numbers. This is a range of numbers, right? Then, and also a reference. Okay, you are referencing the sum function. okay, to perform a calculation, to sum up or to add up a range of numbers. Okay, so we have this a, like already explained here, the A1 to A10. This is called reference. Okay, you are referencing that particular cell or those particular cells. Okay, so it is called a reference. It tells Excel which cells to include in the calculations. So like I said, you are referencing a certain cells. Understand? Because if you just type equal to sum, Excel doesn't know what you want to sum. Though in a situation whereby there are places where if you type sum, Excel automatically know, okay, you want to sum up this column, you want to sum up these rows depending on the position of the cells. Okay, but without that Excel doesn't know. Okay, you just type equal to sum. Okay, I understand you want me to perform a calculations. Okay, but what really do you want me to calculate? So that's what this reference does. Okay, it could be B1 to B10, it could be any other cells, but this is just an example. Okay, the parentheses are essential. These parentheses, open parentheses and closing parentheses, they are essential. They enclose the reference. Without it, the function, they do not perform. So this parenthesis enclose the reference to make sure that, okay, Excel will only perform the calculations in those selected cells. Okay, so let's go do a little hands-on lab, maybe perform a simple addition. Okay, so let's go to Excel. Okay, so let me use this for this. Okay, let me see if I'll use this data, then perform some calculations. So let's see this in action here in Excel. I've switched on to Excel, so we are going to perform a little calculations now. So let's say we want to add this health and fitness data. Understand? We want to add it up. Okay, the health and fitness figures, we want to add it up. So I will click on these cells here. You can see I'll click on these cells here, and I want to maybe okay, like I just wanted to calculate the figures on the health and fitness. So this is where I want to perform the calculations. Understand? Where I want the total of the health and the fitness figures to appear. Okay, so I'll start with, remember I said for you to type a formula or a function, you must start with equal to sign. So the moment I start with the equal to, then I type sum. You can see Excel, notice how Excel starts suggesting functions as I type. Okay, it suggested so many functions that are available that I can type. Okay, so this is one thing that makes Excel to be very, very functional. This can be very, very, very helpful for you. Understand? So the moment you are typing, okay, so understand, as I start with S, then understand, okay, maybe I wanted to perform a sum function or sum if or sum ifs and all of that. This is very, very helpful for you. Now I will select the cells containing first of all I have to start with, if I press tab, it will give me it will select that sum function, the first function that is suggested, creating automatically giving me the open parenthesis. You can manually type that by yourself. Now I want to select the cells that I want to perform the calculation on. In this case, I want to select the health and fitness figures. Okay, so this is the range. Understand? Or you can call it okay, this is just a range because it's G2 to G13, right? So it is a range. Okay, so after I've selected this containing the health and figures and drag it down to select the range that I want, you see how Excel automatically fills in the cells range for me, because this is a table. This data has been converted as a table, so that's why you are seeing table 6, health and fitness. That's the name assigned to the table. Okay, otherwise what I would have seen there is G2 to G13. Okay, but because this has been formatted as a table and with a name assigned to it, that's why it's telling you that you are selecting the table 6 and health and fitness figures. Okay, so I've selected it and I close the parentheses, and if I press enter, it sums up those values for me. You can see how I was able to use the sum function to perform this calculation. And there we have it. Okay, 760 pounds. Okay, of everything. You don't have to now be calculating it. Maybe you bring a calculator and start typing 60 plus 70 and all that by yourself. With this function, we are able to calculate the whole figures in just a blank. Okay, so if I click on these cells again, if you go to the formula bar, you will see you can see the formula in the formula bar telling you, okay, the formula that you use to achieve this result is a sum functions containing the health and fitness figures. Okay, this is where you can also edit the formula. So if I want to edit the formula, I'll just click into the formula bar, and I can, maybe I want to instead of sum, I want to perform maybe average. I want to do the average function instead of the sum. Understand? And if I do that, it now gives me the average. Understand? Instead of the sum. So for you to be able to know, okay, just like maybe you just open your cell and you found this, but you don't know how the person get to achieve this result, and you want to know, okay, what calculation did this person perform here. What you have to do, if you click into the cell, you look into the formula tab, you see where you'll be able to know, okay, oh, this is the average of health and fitness figures from January to December, right? So that is it. So the next thing we want to, let's go back to the slide, is copying formulas and relative references. Okay, copying formulas and relative references. So one of the most powerful features in Excel is the ability to easily copy formulas. Okay, so this saves you a huge amount of time. The tool we use for this is called fill handle. The fill handle. Understand these fill handles? Okay, so it's a little square that at the bottom right corner of a cell. Okay, when we go back to Excel, I will show you what I'm talking about. It is a little square that that appears. It shows at the bottom right corner of a cell, the selected cell that you want to, maybe if you want to use the fill handle on. So when you hover your mouse over it, the cursor changes to a plus sign. Okay, so this is how you know that you are in the right spot. When you hover over, let me go to Excel and show you what I'm talking about. Now let's say, or let me just type a number here. Let me just type a number. Let me see, I want to type 1 here and press enter. Okay, now let me select. Okay, if I hover here, see, this is the, you can see the green little square at the bottom right of the cell that is green in color. This little square, if I hover to that square, it changes to plus sign. Understand? Now if I want to fill up, maybe I want to autofill or copy the formulas that I just did, maybe here towards this angle, I'll have to use the fill handle, something like that. So I just want to show you what I mean by the fill handle. So we'll go back to PowerPoint and continue what I'm explaining. So this is how you know that that fill handle is how you know that you are in the right spot. Okay, you actually want that plus sign tells you, okay, you are in the right spot. You can now copy the cell or copy the formula down or right or to the left. Okay, so another thing I want us to discuss is the relative reference. Okay, yeah, relative reference. So now here is a crucial concept: relative references. Okay, by default, when you refer to a cell in a formula, it's a relative reference. It is by default. a relative reference. Whenever you refer to Excel, a cell, not Excel. Whenever you refer to a cell in maybe a cell formula, just like we type I just showed you a sample of the sum and the average. The selection there is a relative reference. Okay, so whenever you type a function, let me show you, for instance. Okay, not here. Let me show you. I want to type something like, okay, for instance, I say equal to, let me say equal to mean. Let me use the mean and open parenthesis. And I say b1, b2, let me say b2, b2 to, let me say e5. Let me just do that. e2 to e5. Okay. Then if I close it, automatically this is a reference, a relative reference. By default, it is a relative reference. And you can see as I type the b2 to e5, it has selected the cells for me. It is a relative reference. But I just want to show you this. I will let's go back. Let's go back to our slide. So I'll show you what I want to do. Okay. So by default, the cells or the cell formula is a relative reference. Okay, and so adjust the cell references based on the new location. Okay, so this means that when you copy the formula, understand, when you copy the formula, let's say after performing just like the sum and average we did, if I copy the formula towards other field, okay, a cell will adjust the cell references based on the new location. Okay, that's what it means. So let me briefly show you what I mean when we continue, before we can continue on the hands-on lab, because after this we will move to hands-on lab again. So let me just show you what I mean here. So I will write a formula and add in the first number. Let me see, let me go to this. Let me just type, give me a moment. 1, okay, and 2. Okay. Remember what I told you about field handle? I just use a field handle right now, but we'll still come over there. So let's say I want to write a formula, adding the number and the, maybe let me write a formula here. Okay, let me just write a formula here, and I want to say equal to okay, let me see, equal to a1 plus maybe a5, and press enter. Okay, you just calculated this 4 plus 1 for me. If I click into it, remember in the formula tab it to tell you the calculation, the formula bar to tell you the calculation that we just performed. So this is telling me that just calculated the a2 plus a5. It give me the answer automatically. It's a relative reference. If I copy down, you see, now it is not, now it's not calculating a5. Let me just select this cell first. It's now a3, it is moving down a3 to a6. If I copy down maybe to this place, you see it keep on going down for me, a4 to a7, a5 to a8, keep on. This is a relative reference. Okay, so if I copy the formula and paste in another cell, maybe let me just copy this one and Control C and maybe paste it here, Control V. You see, it will no longer you can see how the references change. Okay, it will no longer, because there is no information here. There is no information on these cells here are empty. Okay, so it's like doing C2 plus C5, because this one is A2 plus A5. So because they are this cell is now empty, though it copied it. That means if I enter any, okay, since this one is C2 plus C5, right? Let me just enter any number there, 3. Then C5, let me just enter 6. You see, because no, this is what I want to do. C2 to C5. Okay, I made a mistake. C2, not C3. Okay, let me just enter 3. You can see it automatically do the addition for me, because the formula has been copied. So whenever I now add any number here, the formula automatically, because it's a relative formula, keep on copy. You can copy it to other cells, you can copy it to other columns and other to your other field. Okay, so that's what you can see, how the references changes as you move. They are relative to the position of the formula. The formula is what that matters. The position of this formula is C2 plus C5, right? So they are relative to that position of where the formula is. So if you are copying it, it will be relative to the formula changes. You keep on changes to wherever, maintaining the position. That is what relative formula is. So let me just undo everything we did, because I will still come back. Okay, so let me quickly go back to the slide. Okay, now we have to still go back to Excel and perform another hands-on practice. So we want to see how you can use autofill and relative references. Okay, so let me as well go back here and let me leave it now. So let's go back to we are back in the expense 2018 data that I'm using. So we have calculated the subtotal of for one product, which is what we are. Let me do we have calculated the subtotal of these health and fitness figures, right? So now we want to do the same for all the products. For instance, let me just perform this calculation here. So let's say equal to sum, and remember the tab. Then remember what I choose, the same thing that I'm doing here. And if I press enter, it is the subtotal of this housing. Okay, so let me see if I can adjust this. Maybe it's better like this, or let me adjust it better. Remember, actually, if you want to adjust almost the whole column, you can select everything. I just want it to be wider so that you can see what we are doing. All right, so I've just calculated the subtotal of the housing expenses, right? The housing expenses for the whole year. Okay, so right here I'll just type total, okay, or subtotal. Okay, let me just use the word total. Okay, this is the total for the year. Okay, so I just calculated for the housing expenses. Now we want to do the same for all other expenses, right? So I don't have to come about and be typing the one after the other, and I come here, I'll do this one again, one after the other until I get here. This is where field handle is powerful. It's very, very helpful. Okay, so instead of writing the sum formula again and again, I will use the field handle. Okay, so I will click and drag it across. Remember, once you hover towards that green box, green square here, it will change to plus to tell you, okay, you're in the right spot, you want to copy. So if I copy this across, automatically Excel will perform these functions for me. Okay, that's how it works. And if I decide to change the formula, I can just click over here and maybe select the average. Understand? Remember, I told you if you want to change edit, you can come here to the formula bar. Maybe I want to change from sum to average or other, mean or maximum and all that. Or maybe if you want to do the change editing, maybe you want to change from housing to another, maybe bill and whatever, depending on the position of where the cell you are referencing is. But if you just want to change the function that you use, this drop down arrow here, like that is like a filter for you, is just to tell you, okay, if you want to just, okay, I've seen the subtotal, now I want to see the average for all, and if I select the average, it will change for me. And if I use the field handle again, it will automatically give me the average for all of them. So this is how powerful the field handle is. So let me leave it at the sum that we use. Okay, so you see how I click and drag it across, and release the moment I get to the position I want it to just calculate for me. It will now do automatically. See what happened. the formula has been copied to other cells, and the cell references have been automatically adjusted. Okay, so that means if I click into here, you can see it is it has to do with, let me double click so you see what I'm saying. It's telling you that it is a sum of all these figures in the bills and utility field. Okay, so it adjusts automatically for you. Okay, it adjusts automatically for you, for it makes your work faster. So if I point to the formulas in the different cells, let's say other cells here and all that, it shows how the references have changed. This is the power of relative references. It saves us from having to manually change the source references in each formula. Okay, then another thing we will have to discuss is the auto sum. We'll still come back to references. I just showed you the relative reference. We'll still come back and we'll explain better about the relative references and other references that we have. Okay, so I just showed you the relative because it's almost like whenever you're performing any function and you need to copy it across, you need to perform the function one maybe in all of the cells. You don't have to do it one after the other. That's why I give an example of relative references here, so you can see if I do autofill, because that fill handle uses the well, I say the power of relative references, the benefit of relative references to copy the formula across. Okay, that's why we discuss this. So the next thing we want to talk about is auto sum and other handy tricks that you can do. Okay, so it's like a quick shortcut for you. Instead of typing the equal to sum and all of that, it's like a quick shortcut for you. So Excel offers many shortcuts to make your work faster. Okay, one of the most useful is auto sum. Auto sum. Okay, so you want to automatically sum a given range or given reference. Okay, it is located on the home tab in the editing group. Okay, in the home tab in the editing group, this is the home tab. If you go, this is the editing group, you can find the auto sum here. So but we will come back to it. Okay, so auto sum quickly inverts common functions like sum, average, count, and more. And even better, it has a keyboard shortcut that you can use. So instead of maybe instead of going to the home tab editing, you can use the, maybe if I let me undo what I did here, or let me just say, okay, let me just type sum here. Okay, so this means I want to perform a sum functions for cells, everything that is here. Okay, it might include the total as well, for instance, but I just want to show you how it is done. So instead of maybe going here, maybe to click on the auto sum and select the what you want to perform, you can use the keyboard shortcut Alt key, the Alt key, then plus equal to. You can see automatically it selected the sum, auto sum. This is an auto sum, so automatically selected the housing, including the totals. Okay, the totals of this housing, that's what it selected for me, not everything, because he already knew that I performed a sum of these housing expenses. So this is the sum. So if I press enter to give me the same result. Okay, but had it mean I didn't perform the total, or it will select the cells here. Okay, that's why I was trying to explain to you, because I said that it might include the total, but actually it included only the total, because it doesn't need to. This is how brilliant Excel is. It doesn't have to start calculating everything again and even add the total for you. He already knew, okay, you have performed this one and you want to bring the sum here. Understand? You want to just like bring this information here down. And if you remember the autofill, if I do the autofill, it will still copy it down for me. If I copy it across, so if I want to just maybe see the sum total of the whole year here, and maybe I want to see the sum total of the whole year average here and all of that, I can be able to do that, okay, without worrying myself about, okay, going to the editing and looking for some amount. I just use the alt key plus equal to, automatically it will give you what you want immediately. So let me go back to our slide. Okay, so another thing is the double click fill handle. The double click fill handle. Before, we have been explaining the copying across, dragging. In a way to use the fill handle, we have been dragging. Understand? You just drag. Now, another way you can be able to do this is double clicking. Okay, so yeah, it's another great trick for copying formulas quickly. Understand? It's much faster than dragging. Okay, just double click and it will do it for you, especially when you have long columns. This work especially when you have long columns of data. Understand? In the columns, remember in Excel, let me show you. In Excel, these are the rows. Let me highlight. These are the rows, right? But these are the column, right? So it has to be maybe a column data. Maybe I want to perform the total just for January and for February. I want to perform the total here. When we get to hands-on practice, I will do that. Let me do the explanation first. I hope you are understanding everything I'm teaching. I hope you understand my explanation. Are you there?
Yes.
Okay, I just want to make sure I'm not speaking to myself. So before we
No,
yeah, nothing.
I am.
All right, because
No, I am.
I'm supposed to ask you some. Make sure you are catching
I'm catching. I'm catching up. Bro.
yeah. So you are not lost anywhere. You are catching up, right?
Yeah, I'm catching up.
Oh, okay. So let me go back to the PowerPoint. All right. So the double. I was talking about the double clicking is another powerful another trick. Very great trick. Understand? In a way, you can do the fill handle without copying across, and especially when you are working with a long columns of data. Understand? And you want to perform a calculation. Okay. So instead of dragging the fill handle all the way down, let's say for instance in Excel, maybe the total here, and after summing this row or all the information in this row, after summing it here, and I will start dragging. Wait, what if you have up to thousands of rows? Understand? Are you going to keep dragging and dragging? No. So by double clicking, it will perform the task for you immediately. So Excel will automatically copy the formula down to the last row that contains the adjacent column. Okay, that contains the adjacent column. That's another word I need to understand here. Just like I told you, the adjacent columns. That's it will copy down the formula based on these adjacent columns, information in the other columns that you calculated. All right, so this is a huge time saver when you are working with large data sets. Okay, so now let's practice what I just told you. So let's say now I want to bring this total here. Okay, remember this is a table. So the moment I let me add a total here. This is a table data. So the moment I click enter, it will copy the format automatically because this is a table. Understand? Remember, I think I've taught you how you can convert a cell to a table. We done that in our last class, right? How you can convert a range of cells to a table. Did we? Have you done that? I think that will be in our coming classes when we get to, especially when we get to pivot table, we'll do that. So this is a table for now. If you have not done that, we'll see get there. I'll teach you, see how you can convert a range of cells to a table so that it gives you a certain functionalities, like it makes your work quicker, just like I just typed total and the formatting or automatically copied down for me. Alright, so here we are going to use the auto sum. Alright, we are going to use the auto sum here to calculate the total expenses for the year, maybe for January, then February, March, then at the end we will get the total expenses for the year at this place. So I've added a new column and I call it total. Okay, then you go to the auto sum. Remember the key shortcut that you can use to get the keyboard shortcut that you can use to get the auto sum. Alt key plus equal to. If I do that, it will give me the. Let me just do that. It will, without, you see, I'm no longer in the auto sum. So when you type alt key plus equal to, automatically give me the sum, and you see what happened here. As I understood that I want to sum the adjacent columns, the informations in the adjacent columns. Understand? So the rows, all the informations in these rows, as I will automatically sum them up for me, right? So if I press enter, you can see automatically, because this is a table. But let me convert. I would like to convert because this is a table. So the moment I do anything, automatically, I will no longer be able to display the field handle again in this cell. So, and I wouldn't have much time for me to go and do, okay, let me convert it to, let me just undo then convert it to convert. If you want to, I don't want to teach that now. Understand? When we get I like whenever we get to a certain stage, then you learn it. But I don't know. The thing here is that, okay, let me just show you. When we get to the table, we'll still learn that. So what I want to do, I want to convert this information. Let me also undo the total that I created. So let me convert this table. This is a table, right? So I want to, or let me copy it. Let me copy this this data so that I will not maybe I wouldn't what's it called? I wouldn't tamper with this one, for instance. So let me create a copy after the expense. So I've just created a copy, then I will rename this, let me call it, or let me just leave it like that, since this is just a sample I want to do. So this is the previous one we're working with, then this is the one I buy for now. I want to use as a sample for this class. So I want to convert this table to a range. Anytime you turn a range of data to a table, you have this added tab on your ribbon. Understand? Where you can design the table. So if I go to the table tools, if I click on the table tools, you can see this is table tools. Then I can be able, I want to convert the table to a range. So if I click on this convert to a range, do you want to convert the table to a normal range? And if I say yes, okay, this is no longer a table, though it retains the formatting for me, but it's no longer a table. You can see all those filter buttons that is added on the columns that have disappeared. Once you convert a range of data to a table, automatically it will have the filters for you to perform. So let me adjust this. Okay, so now let's say I want to the total, so that okay, you can see it didn't copy down the format for me. That's because of it is not a table, but the table does this for you. It saves time for you. So let me say equal to, okay, let me just use the auto sum, that keyboard shortcut I told you about. And if you or let's use the auto, since we have used the keyboard shortcut severally, let's use the auto sum from here. Okay, so I want to sum. I said, remember, you can now see it is the reference is showing me the column numbers, the column and row numbers, no longer the table and the name of the expenses and other when we are working with a table. So you can see the moment I perform that sum, Excel still understand, okay, we want to sum the adjacent columns, the information in the adjacent columns. And if I press enter, you can see this is what this is the total of all the expenses done in January. Okay, now we want to copy it down. So remember that the fill handle, how powerful and helpful it is that I don't have to keep on performing these functions one after the other. So, and again, instead of dragging, there is, what if I have a thousands of rows? Okay, will I keep on dragging and dragging and dragging and all that? So how you can do that is you hover to the fill handle, that's green square over there. The moment it's over there, to a plus sign and double click, automatically it performs the calculations for me. You can see if you go to the formula bar, you can see that this now is summing the B3 to G3. Understand, this is G3, this is B3, so it has summed from G3, B3 to G3. That it has summed it up for me, and including the total. Understand, the total. So here we will be able to know, okay, this is like summing the entire total for the year. So we know that from January to December, all the total of all the expenses come together is 11,020 pounds. So you see the power of fill handle, double clicking, the power of using the double clicking. Okay, so we have been talking about formula, though we discussed the sum. Sum is one of the functions, but we are still in the formula. I'm just trying to tell how you can be able to use formula, because sum is part of formula, but it is an inbuilt, pre-built formulas. Understand, functions in Excel that helps you to perform tasks without typing them. Instead of doing equal to A1 plus A2 plus C2 plus D2 plus to get the use sum to do it. That's it, become a function, right? So let's go back to our slide. So okay, we have done the hands-on practice, right? So now I want to introduce you to function. So what are functions? Okay, we have already used the sum function in the formula section. So functions are pre-built formulas. Remember what I told you, functions is also formulas, but they are pre-built formulas that perform specific tasks. Okay, so if you want to do sum, or you want to do average or mass and other, it performs a specific task. Excel has hundreds of them. They cover everything from simple calculation like average to complex statistical analysis. I've shown you how you can even use the average function. So it covers everything that from calculation like the average function to complex statistical analysis, financial calculations, test manipulations, date functions, and much more. So you can do a lot. Okay, so accessing these functions, there are a few ways to access functions. Okay, so we have seen AutoSum. I've shown you the AutoSum, which gives you quick access to some common functions. So you can also find a full list of functions on the formula tab, okay, in the function library group. Okay, what I'm talking about is the formula tab. This is the formula tab. Then in the formula tab, you can see different, where you can perform different type of functions, whether it is financial, logical function, financial function, test function, date function, lookup function, mathematical functions, and more functions. Even recently used functions, you can find them here. Understand? That's what I'm trying to talk about here. So, and if you are looking for a specific function, if you are looking for any specific function, you can go there. You can go there in this formulas bar, and you maybe want more information about a function. You can use the insert function dialog. Okay, you can use the insert function. This one, you can use this insert function dialog. It will maybe want more information about a function. You want to get more information about, okay, the sum function or the average or whichever functions. Using this insert function will give you more information about the sum. Okay, it will give you more information. Like you can see we are talking about sum B14 to G14, for instance, it will give you more information about it. Okay, so that's telling you, okay, you are calculating 800, 2060, 4820, and all of that to get the total of. So I don't want to, if you go to the formula result, you see it's telling you the final result which we get here. This information here is what we have, the total here. Understand? Is what is showing us. You have been telling us the total there. Okay, you can see the answer from here before you even perform the sum. Look, you want to know, if I do the sum, what will be the answer? What will be the formula result? That is, you can find it there from the insert functions here. You can get information about any particular function that I use here, because the reason why I saw that, because I selected this final result here. Understand? Any function that, if I click here, if I click insert function, it will give me information about that particular place that I selected. Okay, telling me what I selected, P11 to G, and the data information that is inside here, and the final the formula result. So this is how you can be able to get, okay, information about the function there. You can see we want more information about a function that you use. So you use this insert function dialog box to achieve that. Okay, so let's go to the slide. Then the next thing we'll talk, okay, common statistical functions that we usually use almost all the time. Okay, so that is why they are common. Being common means using them. These are statistical functions. So when you want to learn data analysis and they're asking you if you know statistics, and maybe you are cracking your brain, maybe I don't know maths very well, statistics, then, and it seems like as if you are going to be doing the performing the calculation by yourself, knowing whether if average is total or plus number of occurrence, or divided by, you need to, it's important that you understand, okay, what average is. It's important that you understand what mean is, mass, but you don't have to bother much about performing the calculation by yourself, because Excel helps you to do that. So let's look at some of these commonly used statistical functions. The average function. This average function calculates the average of a range of numbers. The average of a range of numbers. Remember what I told you is a range. Let's go back to Excel. If I want to get the average of this, from this H1 to H13, it is a range. Okay, it is a range. So if I want to get the average of this range, or the average of this range from here to here, depending if you're moving by rows or by column. So when I say range, you understand what I'm talking about. So average calculate the average, and the average function calculate the average of a range of numbers. Okay, the mean function finds the smallest value. Okay, the mass find the largest value. Okay, then the counts the number of cells, or the number of occurrence of a number in a cell that contains numbers. Okay, it is only when you are working with you want to count the number of cells that contain numbers. And median finds the middle value in a set of numbers. And you need to understand the difference between average and median. Okay, the average, just want to find the average of maybe the average of a range of numbers, but the median is the middle value in a set of numbers, or in that range of number. The middle, the one in the middle, is not the same as the average. So you need to understand that. So let's quickly do hands-on practice. Okay, so before we do that, let me just type, give me a moment, sum, enter average, so you can see how we can do that. Enter, which one again, mean, enter mass, enter, okay, sorry, made a mistake, enter, then which one again, count, enter, and we have which one again, median. These are not the only one, but the one maybe you will be using for now. So okay, So it's just like performing the functions. We want to find the maybe only the want to see the let me go down. We want to see the average the sum of the housing, though we have performed that here, but I just want to show you what we mean on this answer practice by doing all of that. So you have this formatted. Let me format it. Let me make it a bit broader and okay, right. Then. So then give me a moment. Okay, so if I want to change the field, so the field, let's say I want to use the blue. Okay, let me use this color for now, and change the text to white. Okay, so I just want to leave it like this, and this one, the field. Let me make it kind of. I'm just trying to show you how you can as well format. Let me leave it like this. So I want to find the sum. Let's calculate the since we have done the sum, you know what it means to do the sum. I've done that, so I don't want to waste much time trying to explain that. So it's just like the sum of this, right? Okay, sorry, I included D12. This is how you can edit D12. 8,800 of this. I mean, there's something wrong with this formula. There's something wrong. This is not supposed to be. Oh, okay. There is something wrong with this. Let me check again. This is not supposed to be 800. It just caught my attention now. So what happened here? Let me just subtotal. Let me change this formula from here. Let me just change the formula and see what happened. I'm just saying this now. So sum percentage, see what happened. I don't think that's the problem. I think because it was table earlier and I changed it to a range. Okay. So what am I doing? I've not add the bracket before selecting. That's the you see. So you must make sure you understand what you're doing. Okay. So this is actually the correct. And now let me drag and see. Some C2 to C13. No, it's not supposed to be C2 to C13, right? Okay. So it's now correct now. After I drag, everything is now correct. So let me see again. I want to make sure I copy the formula across. Okay. So this one, let's come again to B13. I was actually confused because I thought it's not supposed to be the 9,000 because I was seeing 800 here, but the information is wrong because I converted this to a range and the formula didn't give me exactly what I want. So now I've just corrected the mistake, because one thing about data analysis, one of the skills you need to know about data analysis is problem solving, troubleshooting. Okay, and it's just like when you are writing coding. You are coding, you're coding, and you want to debug. Maybe you made a mistake and you want to debug the code. All of these things applies to whether you're a programmer, data scientist, analyst, or something. You know how to debug your code, or troubleshooting, or problem solving, and all that. So we just did that. So let's quickly move to the average. So what we want to see here, we want to see the sum of the housing expenses. Now we want to see the average of housing expenses. Remember how you can do that? You can start typing, or you can go to the auto sum and we find the average. Understand that we want to use. So if you select the average, it will give you average. Okay, so this is an average, not average of B16, but rather average of this information here. So we can copy around. So if you keep performing this, let me just drag this and now just be changing the formula so that we'll not waste much of our time. So you go here and change it to me and the same math and the same here. So instead of this one is what? Count. And this count is not supposed to be formatted as a currency. So you can actually change that. Even the median. Okay, the median, since it's a currency, the median can be formatted as it, because you're finding the median, the middle value of the, but you need to, because this you're counting the number of occurrence. Understand? Not it's not supposed to be formatted as maybe as an accounting or whatever. It's supposed to be formatted as a number, and you reduce the so it's 11 times. If you count this 1 2 3 4, if you count it, it's 11 time. So I just want to perform the calculation, then while I start explaining because of time. So we have calculated the average expenses for the year for housing expenses, and the we will also find the medians, and we also use we also find the mean, max, and all of that. And if I want to copy it, I can as well copy them around to, just like we did. We want to copy it to do the same calculation for you. So okay, so this is not an error, or we still come to this place, but let me just say that maybe the numbers are, you just need to adjust the column. They are longer than the column. Okay, so that's it. If I decide to, no, this is not a copy. If I decide to maybe find the average of the total as well, and okay, you can do that. Remember, this is not an error. It's just to tell you that the information in the cell is longer. We will come there as well. Okay, so you can see how I was able to get the average for each of the columns, including the total. Remember, why this is not formatted is because this particular data retain the table formatting. So I can decide to format it to look like this as well by selecting and going to go to the view and whatever, and format it how I want, but I don't want us to waste time on that right now. So let's go to reference. This is initially this class would have ended in the formulas and functions, but I want us to discuss the relative references. So before we move to the relative references, I want to know if you have any question. Do you have any question? Let me move ahead.
Really?
Do you have any question?
No,
Okay.
not really.
Okay. So I want to move to relative, absolute, and means references. So you can see what these references mean. Remember that we've already discussed the relative reference, so I'm going to recap on it. And remember that I say that relative references is the default way Excel handles sales references. So this is really important concept. Okay, so pay close attention here. So think of it this way: when you use a relative reference in a formula, you are not actually referring to a specific cell. Instead, you are referring to a cell's position relative to the cell containing the formula. So you are not actually referring to a specific cell. To say when we write this formula, maybe here You are not actually referring to this specific cell. This is a cell. Remember I told you all these are empty cells, but this cell contains information. Now this cell contains formula, and this formula is using a relative reference. So you are not actually referring to the cell, okay? You are not actually referring to the specific cell, but instead you are referring to a cell's position, the position of this cell. Okay, now you are referring to the position of the cell's position relative to the cell containing the formula. So that's why when I copy this to this place, you are referring to the cell's position that is relative to the cell that contains the formula. That is why it could be copied, and when I copied that particular ID, when I copied it, we saw 0. Otherwise, we would have seen the value that was where we copied it from, but we saw 0. Understand? It is the formula that it is relating to, not the specific cell. Okay, so it's all about the location. The location, that's what it's all about. Okay, so let me show you what I mean. Let me go to yourself. So here we have a simple, sorry, let me go. Okay, so here we have a simple table. Understand? Let me add we are just going to work with the reference number. So let me just drag this to maybe 10. Okay, sorry. So I don't understand, though it is a number, I have to write 2 first, so it will understand. Okay, it is actually 1, 2, 3, 4 that you want to do. So when I now copy it automatically, I've given Excel a clue of what I want to do. It will say okay, that's it. It will now perform. So here let me, for instance, let me from here, for instance, enter a formula, and if I say equal to a1, let me just be clicking for here, a2, I mean to say, plus let me say b4, and I say equal to, this is a relative reference, right? You can see it is calculating the a2 plus a4. That's 3 plus 1, the information inside it. This means add the value in the cell, and in the cell, cell 1 column, as in the cell 1 column to the left, and in the same row by the value in the cell 2 columns to the left. That's how you keep on doing as you are moving. Understand? So, and in the same row, understand, it maintains the information. So it's not literally saying you must add the content of a2 by the content of as in, you have to understand why this is a relative. Understand? Just add the content. It is the information, because if it is just add the content of a2 to and the content of ab, that means if I copy it, you keep on adding the content of this, content of this. It's not just it. The formula tells the cell to move in a way it can move. The location is what that matters. Understand? If I change this from maybe plus to, you use as carries to do multiplication. Okay, you want to perform multiplication. So this is like 3 times 1. Okay, so it depends on the position, because if I drag it down, you see, it is not 3, 3, 3. Otherwise, if it is based on telling us just add the 3 plus 1, that means I'll keep 3 times 1. That means I'll keep on getting 3, 3, 3. Understand? So it's not just about multiplying the content of A2 by the content of B2 or B whatever number where you perform the maybe B3 or B4. Understand? So because of the location, it is relative to the location. The location is what that actually matters. Understand here, not the specific cell where you selected initially. Okay, so this is what when I copy it down, you see what happened. Okay, you see what happened. The formula in the second row is now, the formula here in this row is now a3 times a5. Instead of, it's no longer a2 times a4. It copies down. Okay, so why did it change? Because of relative referencing. Okay, that is why it changes, because it is relative to location. It is relative to location. Okay, so Excel recognizes that I copy the formula one row down. Okay, it recognizes that I copy the formula one row down, so it adjusted the references in the formula one row down as well. So as I copy down, it adjusts it one row down, one row down. That's how you keep on going down by the rows. Okay, so the original formula said one column for here now. The original formula say select the first column. Yeah, select the first column like A2, multiply it by A4. Okay, the copy formula say A3 multiply it by A5, just like that. A4 multiply it by A6. You keep on moving down one column, keep on moving down by one column. This is why it is relative references. Okay, it changes. This makes its relative reference so powerful. It makes it so powerful that you can write write a formula once and then copy it to multiple cells. Okay, just one formula that I wrote, I now copy it to multiple. That's why even when we use the autofill in the expensive data, we are able to write one formula and copy it to the other cells and get the result you want. This is what actually makes it very, very powerful, because Excel will automatically adjust the references for you. Okay, so it's all about the relationship between the cells, not the absolute cell. Not That's why we have absolute references. When we get there, you will not see the difference. This one is relative. It's all about the relationship between the cells, not the absolute cell addresses that we use. So this lets you perform the same calculation on different set of data very, very easily. Understand? Without this relative references, you have to rewrite the formula for every single cell, and which is very, very bothersome. Very, very. In fact, it's like doing one task repeatedly. Understand? It can be very, very troublesome to you and tiring to do. So these are some of the user experience that Excel use spreadsheets use to make your work quicker and faster. Okay, so remember, relative references are all about position. So when you copy a formula, Excel adjusts the references to maintain the same relative positions. Okay, to maintain the same relative position between the formula and the cell it refers to. So this is the default behavior in Excel. Okay, and it is very essential for creating efficient and flexible spreadsheets, just like we did here. Okay, just like we did here. So it is very, very essential for creating effective and efficient flexible spreadsheets without wasting time. So it is usually what you want, but sometimes you need a reference. Sometimes you will need a reference to stay fixed. That is where absolute reference come into play. Okay, that is where absolute reference come into play. Okay, so let's discuss absolute reference before we do practical. Though I just showed I just show example with the relative reference, but I didn't want to go to practical now. I just want to explain, and I was carried away, and I performed some practicals there. So absolute references is where when you, okay, for example, like I talked about, even though we usually work with relative reference, but sometimes you want a certain column to be fixed. Understand? You don't want it to, move like relative references does. So this is where absolute references come in, understand, into place. So an absolute reference does not change when you copy a formula. Okay, it doesn't change. To make a reference absolute, you add a dollar sign to it. Okay, this dollar sign is actually what makes a reference absolute. Okay, so you add this dollar sign, then the column letter to the column letter, before the column letter or the row number. You can see here it is added before the column letter or before the row number. This refers to cell A1, no matter where the formula is copied. Okay, so if I copy a formula containing $A1, $1, Okay, it will always refer to column A1, no matter where I paste the formula. Okay, so in a formula, for instance, now let's say I don't want to go to practical. When I finish explaining the remaining references, then we can go to practical. I'll show you. So this um um absolute references is crucial when you have a specific value you need to use repeatedly and in your calculations. Okay, so like maybe you want to perform a tax rate or a conversion factor, or you want to give maybe percentage, a discount in your business, and you want to, if someone meets this criteria, we will give you 5% discount or 10% discount. Okay, the information where you have that 5% will have to be absolute so that it doesn't copy that. That means once someone made this, if you use the maybe the if functions, that is where if functions come into place. If this person made this criteria, let this happen. If this, so you want that maybe the discount rate or tax rate or conversion factor or whatever you want to remain fixed. You don't want it to move. Okay, that is where the absolute cell references is powerful. So the next reference is mixed references. Okay, now these are a combination of relative and absolute references. Okay, the mix, that is why the word mixed. Understand? You mix relative and absolute references together. Okay, you use them when you want either the row or the column to remain fixed. Now it's either the row or the column to remain fixed, any of them. Understand? You must make a decision here. Okay, so for instance, if you say A1 and $A1, for instance, just like we have here, $A1 here is a mixed reference where the column is absolute. That is, the column is fixed, but the row, the row 1 is relative. Okay, in this example now, the column, remember the alphabet A is the column, Y1 is the row number. So because we added the dollar sign before the column A, but not before the row 1, we have locked the column, but we did not lock the rows. That means as we copy the information, even if you copy it to other columns, it will not move. The column will remain fixed, but the rows, as you copy down the rows, the information, it can move. Understand? When we get to practical, you understand this better. Okay, it could be confusing for you right now, but when you understand it, you say, oh, okay, this is what it's all about. Okay, so if I copy this formula, for instance, when I type this whether this or this, if I copy it down, the column will stay fixed at the A, but the row will change. Okay, it will change its position. Understand? The column is, for this one, I'm talking about this one now, the column is relative, but the row is absolute. When I type this $1, I've locked the row, but the column is relative, but the row is absolute. So if I copy this down, the row will stay fixed. If I type this in a cell, the row will stay fixed, while the column is relative. The column can move, the column can change. The information, when I say column, that means the information on the column can change, but the information on the row cell will remain fixed. Okay, so mixed references are incredible when and very useful for creating tables where you want to keep certain rows or columns constant, okay, while others vary. Okay, it's very, very, very powerful. So let's go to have some practice. So it seems like just talking and then talking. Okay, so let's now talk about the um absolute, because I've discussed much more about relative reference. So let's quickly start with the absolute reference. So now we want to change things slightly. Okay, instead of having the numbers changing as we copy it down, just like it happened on the relative reference. Okay, we want to change things slightly. We don't want it to, copy down, copy, the number to change as we copy down. Let's say we don't want it to change at all. So, like, we always want to see the same value, even if we copy it down. We want to see the same value. Okay, so let's multiply the value a2. Let's see, for instance, here now, let's say equal to let me say a2, then multiply by, let me use the same information that we use here. Okay, so because I want it to be absolute, there is a keyboard shortcut you can use to do that. The F4 on your keyboard. If you use the F4, if you press the F4, it will. But before you press the F4, let me undo so that you understand. Before you press the F4, you have to select where you want to lock. So if I want to lock only this one, or if I want to lock all of them, I have to highlight them, then press F4. Now I've just locked both the column and the row. Understand? I've just locked them. So remember, if I want to lock, let me do that again. I want to lock both the column, both the information on the column A and row 1, and the information in column 3 and column A and the row 3. So you have to highlight it. Understand? You have to highlight it because I want to lock everything. Understand? So before you now press that F4, or you can manually do that. You type dollar, you come here, you type dollar sign, you come in the front, you type dollar sign, and you keep doing that and all that. But that could be time consuming. So I prefer using the what's it called, the highlight. If I highlight it, I will just click the F4 button. So sorry. Okay, so press the F4 button. Now I've locked the column. If I press enter, now if I move it, copy it down, it remains absolute. It doesn't copy down. Even if I click on this one, you can see it is the same A2 and A4. A2 multiplied by A4. It remains absolute. It doesn't copy down. So the information, no matter how you move, remains absolute. It doesn't change. Even if I want to multiply the information here and here, it remains absolute. Let me try it. So instead of A2, let me say I want to multiply A4, right? Okay, is it A4? The A5, I meant to say. The information in the A5 multiplied by the information in the C5, right? Is it the C5? No, in the B5. Okay. In the B5. Okay. So it is 4 times what? 3. It gives you 16, right? If I copy it down, it remains 16. Even though why it didn't copy down to like the relative difference will have done, it would have multiplied this by this and give it its relative difference. But as I copy it down, it remains the column A5 multiplied by column. Even if I copy it to the last column of last row of this data, it will remain fixed. It doesn't move. Okay, I hope you understand that. So this is how powerful absolute reference is. Okay, that means you want to, maybe if you have an information here, you want this information to remain fixed as we do other things, you just lock it. Understand? But where it become more powerful to do, if you just want only a certain cell to be fixed and the other ones to be relative, that is where mixed reference come into play. Okay, because here now we want to mix the both. Okay, we want this to remain fixed, but these other ones can move. Okay, so finally let's explore the mixed references. So these are a combination of relative and absolute references, like I said earlier, giving you even more control. It gives you more control of what you can do. Okay, so let's say we want the column to stay fixed, but the rows but not the rows. You want the column to stay fixed but not the rows, or you want the rows to stay fixed but not the column. Okay, we use the mixed references. Okay, so in this so let's say in d4, in d5, I mean to say, so I will type equal to, then I'll type a, then dollar, maybe $2, I mean to say. Okay, now I will multiply by, I will also, now I will log. Okay, let me use the information in another, in B. Okay, now let me use the B. So I will lock the column B, right? I'll lock the column B. Let me select it. I'm just logging. Sorry about that. So let's say I want to select the D. Okay, so I've locked the column D. Then what is row number in the column D? Let's say D5. Okay, so I want to multiply this information here by this one. But here, what this means now is that I didn't lock the column here. That means it can move. For instance, if you say I have other numbers here, understand, in other columns, it can move. But the row numbers, the row, like the one remain fixed. So even if I am moving, like in this one now, I locked B, that it cannot move, but the rows are free. That means if I copy it down, let me copy it down and see what happened here. Let me press enter first. So if I copy it down, what happens here is, let me, and what happens here now is, in this place I did, remember, 1 times the information here, a1 times b3, but here I want the, just the row to be fixed, so that even if I copy down, it will not move, it will not start moving to 2, 3, 4, 5. It remains in the row 1. Understand? But in this particular information now, I locked the the column, but not the row. So if I move down, it can actually do 8 times 1. You can see this one remain locked. It didn't move down to maybe 8 times 2, just like the relative reference. So it's a mixed reference. I locked the row and the rows and the row 1 here, but not the column. And but when you get to this place, I lock the column but not the row, so it can actually move down. That is what happened here. If you come here, you will now see it remain in A2 but now B6. Here it remains in A2 but now B3. So mixed reference means, remember what I told you, when you want to lock any when you want to lock your reference, use the dollar sign, and it depends on the position of the dollar sign. Let me double click. It remain on the position. If I put position, the dollar sign before A, that means I'm locking the column A. Understand? So, but since I did not put dollar sign before the A, that means I didn't lock the column A. So if I have the other data here, maybe the copying I did is maybe information whereby I want to copy, I select all the information here and want to copy it down. Since I didn't, or maybe the data is from here, since I didn't lock the column A, it can move to column B, it can move to column C, depending on the calculation you are performing. But here we don't have much data, we are just working with the information here and the information here. Understand? So what is very important here is for you to understand that what I just locked here is the row number 2. So no matter what calculation I'm doing, it remains fixed. Understand? But you don't have to worry much about the column moving, because we are not actually performing the calculation whereby the column will move. But you need to understand what the formula says. Column 2 is the one that is locked in this first selection. Then here, the column B is the one locked, not the row. That is why it could move if I keep on copying it down. So I hope you understand the differences you can see now between the both relative, absolute, and mixed references. So mixed references give you fine-grained control over how your formulas behave when copied down or left or right. They are especially useful for creating tables where you want certain rows or columns to maintain or to remain constant while others vary. So this is a more advanced technique Okay, but mastering it will significantly improve your Excel skills, and understanding these different types of references is very very essential. Understand, it's very essential for building robust and flexible spreadsheets. Okay, so you need to by the time you do some practicals, you see more explanation of what all of this is all about. So the next thing we want to discuss is the errors. Okay, so common errors, formula errors. You can see we have encountered this before, right? We have encountered this before, and I told you it's not an error, but it means that the column is too narrow. Okay, so as you work with formulas, you are bound to encounter errors from time to time. So it's just part of the process. Okay, just like you remember when I encountered an error or mistake, I made a mistake and I have to go and correct the mistakes that I made to get the actual result, because data analysis is all about making decision, and if you make a mistake, the outcome will be deceitful. Understand? You'll be giving you'll be misreading. It will be misleading. Understand? The decisions the company will make will be misleading because one mistake has been done. Imagine when you think that your total expenses is 800 instead of 9,600. So Excel displays error messages to help you identify and fix the problems. Okay, so some common errors include the hash. Okay, this hash is part of the common errors that you can see, but this isn't strictly an error. It's just like you can see when we encountered it. I just needed to adjust the column width. Okay, so this just means that the column isn't wide enough to display the full value. Understand? Inside the Excel. So the next is the name error. Okay, this usually means you have misspelled a function name or are referencing a name that doesn't exist. Okay, so it will throw a name error. Okay, so the value error is another error that occurs when you try to perform a calculation with the wrong type of data. Okay, like trying to add text and a number. This doesn't work. You cannot say um, 1 plus a text, maybe 1 plus view or 1 plus formula. Formula is a text. I mean the text, the spelling formula is a text. You cannot say 2 times formula. Understand? It will throw a value error telling you that, oh, okay, the calculation is wrong, or as in you are performing a calculation with the wrong type of data. Okay, like I just explained. So the div slash 0 with an exclamation mark is to tell you, okay, this means you are trying to divide by 0, which is mathematically impossible. You cannot divide anything by 0. Understand? It is mathematically impossible. So maybe you are performing a calculation, understand, but there are some value in the cell that contains 0. Okay, so and you are dividing those information, it will throw a div error there because it is mathematically impossible to divide by 0. Okay, to divide any value by 0. So there are other errors as well, like the ref and the other errors, but these are some of the most common ones you encounter. Okay, so let's move on to the debugging tools. Okay, now this debugging tools means what Excel does when you are, remember when I talk about debugging, I said whether you're a programmer or whatever, you are writing code and you made a mistake. If you know how to debug those code, this is the tools Excel gives you in order to debug your, maybe you are typing, just like I say, all these errors that could occur while doing your calculations. So Excel provides several tools to help you debug your formulas. Okay, one helpful feature is the small green triangle that sometimes appear in the corner of a cell, especially when you have an error. Okay, so this indicates a potential issue with the formula. So if you click on the triangle, you will get option to get more information about the error of physics. We'll see this when we get to hands-on practical. So the error message itself gives you clues about what's wrong or what is wrong. Okay, the error message, it gives you the clue about what is wrong. Okay, and of course the formula, this formula bar, okay, shows you the formula itself. Remember I told you how you can be able to find the formula bar. It shows you the error itself, so you can be able to say, oh, okay, I made a mistake, maybe I wanted to type sum and I typed sum, okay, you can now carefully review it for the mistakes that you did. So Excel also has error checking option where you can customize the rules that it uses to detect errors. Okay, these tools are invaluable for tracking down and fixing those petty formula errors. Okay, so let's go to lab practice and see what I was trying to explain here. So let's see how this works. Okay, in practice. Okay, so you see, let me start with, okay, let me type a date. Let me say 13, let me see 03 5, maybe 2025. And I want to also add a time. Let's say this is 3 p.m. 20, let's say 26, and maybe let me just press enter. Okay, it continues. Maybe I just want to make this longer enough. I want to make this, let me adjust. No need to make it longer enough. Enter, then let me adjust the column so that it will do an error. Let me see if it will do an error for me. This is not giving me what I want. I just want to throw that hash error after typing something. Okay, after typing a formula. Understand, it will throw an error. I don't know much information I can add here to give me exactly what I want. Let me just see if this is long enough. It will throw. It doesn't throw. Oh goodness. We encountered what I'm trying to explain earlier, where the formula was too narrow. Understand, the information was too narrow, and it throws hash for us, and you can be able to correct that. But let me go back to the explains and use it to explain. Maybe that could actually help us with the information that the other one is not actually giving me. So let's say, okay, thank you. You can see this is this through the hash error doesn't mean that there is an error. Okay, but it's just telling us that, it's just to tell you that, okay, you need to adjust the column width. Okay, you need to adjust the column width. This is especially when you perform. Okay, the reason why I couldn't get what I wanted, because that one is not a formula. Okay, I just typed something inside. I didn't mean I say equal to date, then put the today's date and whatever, maybe, and it's too long to contain in the column width. It will show you this hash. So this doesn't mean that it is an error. You just want us to adjust the column and to the normal, so to be able to display the information you have inside. So another error that you could have is, let me just made a mistake. Let me intentionally type, okay, let me just intentionally make a mistake here. Now remember, this is sum that we are wanting. So what if I type sum instead of sum? Okay, then press enter. Okay, it just throw a name error. Okay, so when you click on it, you see this triangle here. You can click on it. So this is what I was explaining before we come to practical. So this is telling you, okay, or it is an invalid name error. Okay, then if you press on this help on this error, they will give you suggest information what you can be able to do. Okay, let me go back. Okay, while I'm explaining, let's see if it will open the help toolbox for me. So the reason why we are seeing this hash name is because it's trying to tell us, okay, let me adjust. Okay, it's taking time to open. Let me adjust it so I'll be explaining. So this is just to tell you that okay, you made a mistake on the name. Understand? So how to correct a name error to give you some guide on what to do and what to do to be able to correct the error. Okay, so that is it. So if you go further, you see calculation steps, and if you want to ignore the error and if you want to edit it in the formula tab, just like here, you can click here and you take it to the formula tab for you to edit, or you can just come to the formula tab and see okay, this is the mistakes, then you just type, correct it with a normal value, and you are good to go. Then the next error I talk about is, let me show you this slide. The next error that I talk about was the, okay, I thought the hash error, the name, then the value. Okay, so when you are trying to calculate with wrong data type, let me display that. So imagine over here you are doing equal to let me just say b1 this times text. And press enter. You see, it is about telling you, understand, it is telling you that okay, sorry, I even made a mistake. It's supposed to, I didn't add I added them, sorry, why am I adding this? I don't need this for now. Okay, it's telling you, okay, this one is name error. It's still telling me name error. I need to perform a calculation. Let me say sum. Okay, division. Sorry, the value error is when you're trying to multiply a number. Let me say 1. Let me see if it will work like this with a text. 1 times t. Let me just do this and see if it works. Still showing me name error, but it's supposed to be like you're trying to multiply a number with a text. Or let me use sum and see if it works. Do you have the text? Okay. Let me see. Let me use this. It will now work for me. Let me see. Want to sum this and this. This will give me what I want. Sorry, it's showing me 800. This is supposed to give me. This is January. This is a text. It's formatted as a text. Why is it giving me 800? This is supposed to throw an error, a value error, where you want to multiply this by this. Or let me see if I can. Let me see if it will work this way. Let's say this multiply by this. Let me see. Here, thank you. That's giving me what I want. So I'm trying to multiply 800 pounds by January. January is a text, not a number. So it will throw a value error. You understand? To tell you that you are trying to multiply a number with a text. So if you go to this error checking dialog to boss for you, you can be able to, just like I told you, you can be able to go to the it tells you that it is error and value. Go to help on this error and see how you can be able to solve the error. I don't want us to okay, the next one is div. Okay, this one, let's say you want to perform, let me say equal to this divided by 0. Let me see. You see, it is mathematically impossible to divide anything by 0. So it will throw a div error because you are trying to divide by 0. It is impossible. Okay, so whenever you see this type of, the reason why this error is important is when you see div 0, you'll be able to understand why you are getting that error. That is why I'm teaching it in this class. So in a situation whereby you come across an error, imagine maybe you are the one doing calculation and you saw hash, what happened? What happened? You become confused without knowing that, okay, that is not even an error. You just need to adjust your column width. The same thing goes to whether it is name. If you see name error, know that, okay, you have made a mistake in the, you wanted to type average. Maybe you missed an alphabet. It will throw a name error. If it is value error, when you are trying to multiply a number with a text, it will throw a value error. But then when you see div over 0, this type of error means you are trying to divide a value by 0 which is mathematically impossible. So that is when you now see the give error. Okay, so that comes to the conclusion. Okay, formulas are the foundation of calculation in Excel. Okay, functions provide pre-built tools for various tasks. Okay, then the cell references that we talk about, the relative, the absolute, and the mixed references controls how formulas behave when copied, whether you copy them down, left, or right. Then understanding and handling formula errors is crucial for building reliable spreadsheet. So whenever you come across errors like this, you'll be able to understand why you're seeing the error. Okay, so next step is for you to practice. Practice makes permanent. Okay, whatever you learn today, when you practice it, it becomes permanent in your brain. Understand? It's just like now, whenever I'm doing anything in Excel and I encounter any of this error, I'll be able to know, okay, why this error, and I'll be able to know how I can debug it immediately. Okay, so practice. Then the more you work with formulas and functions, the more comfortable you will become. Understand? The moment you start working with functions and formulas in Excel, it makes you to become more comfortable. Okay, so explore the functions library that I showed you. If you go to these formulas, you can explore. Here you can see different, if you want to perform a financial calculations, you can see different type of functions that we have. Maybe you are a financial analyst. This is where it will become useful for you. For logical, like if error, if and a, and all of these things, and false and all that. This is where you can find they are logical functions, so you can explore them later on your own. Then you can find the functions that you can use when you are working with text. Okay, so you can see different type of functions. If you want to clean a text, if you want to where is trim, you can also use trim. If you want to trim, maybe you want to trim, I don't want to go further, find it, or want to change a text from lowercase to uppercase. See the trim here. You want to trim the text, maybe there are spaces and all that. You want to trim those spaces, use the trim function. Then if you're working with dates, and just like if you want to find what today's date is, or the day, or what today's day is, and all that, there are many functions, especially when you are working with dates, that you can use. The lookup functions, the H lookup, V lookup, X lookup, index, Google, all of these you can find them in the lookup and reference functions, where you can see the H lookup. You can also find V lookup. Okay, see V lookup. You can also find index and other columns that you can use while performing lookup function, and the mathematical function as well. You can use cos, cosine, and all of that, base, and all of that for mathematical functions. So you don't need to be doing all this maybe algebra, cosine, this and that. You need to have a basic knowledge of it. But Excel, these are already pre-built inside Excel to help you perform the calculation in the brain. And these are more functions that are available for engineering, for information, for the web, and every other thing. So you can explore these functions, and you can even check functions that you have used previously. Okay, these are functions I personally have used them recently, so you can find them here. So I hope you enjoyed this class. If you have any question, please bring it on. Explore these functions library, and experiment with different types of cell references during your practices. Okay. In our next class, we will delve into cleaning data. You learn how to clean data. Okay. After importing data, there is high chance that the data will be dirty. Okay, so we learn how to clean a dirty data. So let's see if you have any question.
No. So after now, you edit the video and the material for this section, right?
Yeah, I'll do just that.
All right, all right. So I'll get it tomorrow, right?
Possibly I'll possibly tomorrow because immediately after this class I'll start editing the recorded class because it has to
Okay.
edit it and enhance, do some enhancement. Then once it's available, I will upload
You
it
let me
for
know.
you to access it, as well as
All
the
right.
practical, the hands-on practice. That hands-on practice is
Mm,
another very important material for this class. It's part of it, but
mm.
very very important because everything I teach you here is like even there. It's not just like even
So,
the hands-on practice can also make you. It is also instructional. Like everything I'm teaching
yes.
you here. Like if you remember our first class, I used the hands-on practice material to teach. So it's just like an instruction, like even when you're working as another pattern analyst, you will be given questions to answer. Okay.
Mm,
So it's just like you want to answer this question, you want to correct. Okay, you have an error in your data. How can we correct this error? You have seen how you can do that. You want to perform a calculation and you want to reference maybe the data to be maybe the value to be fixed and all of that. And the fix you see how you can use the absolute as a reference. So that's another thing that's very important. So I don't know if there is anything from this class that you need more clarity on. You can ask questions.
mostly the reason I don't like
Mm.
asking you question here is because I'll still go through the video.
Okay.
You understand? And when I'm going through the video, I always put my practice in the material too.
Okay.
So if I don't understand it, I will listen to it over and over and over again, then do the practice over and over again, and it will
Mental.
to enter by force by thunder.
All right.
So
I can understand.
that's the reason why I don't ask question. Not that I know it all, but because of the video, because the video is just like second teach, and I'm the one controlling the teaching. Then, because this one you're teaching, I cannot tell you to stop. Yeah. But when I'm doing with the video, I can tell the video to stop, go back, start again, go back. You understand? To grab it well.
Okay.
All right. Today that 2 hours, so I nearly forced.
I know. Actually, I know that it's going to be long. Initially, I didn't want to discuss the reference, but I want our first next class to be cleaning data, so I cannot be discussing reference is part of
Cleaning that and this one.
formulas and functions because it's when you are doing these functions and formulas calculation that you reference, you know how you can make this one to be fixed. Maybe I'm using there are calculations. Well, the time you understand what I'm saying, you are performing a calculation, and I want to give someone maybe I want to give someone discount if maybe these are sales data. And the person, anybody that purchasing thing that is up to £100, and the person will be giving so percentage. This is where this referencing a cell or an order that come into play. So I know the class is going to be longer because function the more we go, the more it becomes longer because you are explaining something that is more technical. Understand? So it's not like the basic where you just I just told you, okay, this is how you type one, two, and you copy down. If you want to move, you move. Those one within few minutes and you are done. But the more you go, the more um, the more technical and the more time it may consume. So that's it. So I say you don't have any question for now. So please if you come across this video, please subscribe and subscribe. Subscribe so that you can see more content like this. Um Make sure you put the notification bell so that whenever we share a video you get a notification on there. But the only thing there is to come across this video if you want to get the materials, the hands-on practice, and other benefit of this class, you have to register for our training. get access to them. Thank you for joining us.
You're welcome.